All right, let me explain what I'm trying to do here. On the right side of your screen here, I have my CloudFlare dashboard. You see this domain CMC Matter, which I'm going to use as an example. I'm going to click on that, and I'm just going to remove that site from CloudFlare altogether. All right, it's gone. Now, I'm using Ansible over here on the left, or whatever scripting technology you might want to use, but this is what I'm using, and it does a couple of different things. It's going to create the domain itself through an add domain script, and then it's going to add the cmcmatter.biz using this command right there. And then beyond this, it's going to add subdomains, which I have in a file that you can't see right now, and that's not really important. So let me go ahead and run this so you can see how that works. Okay, so the playbook is done. You can see I've got some feedback that we're adding all the subdomains. The domain itself was added above this, and if we come down to the bottom, no errors. Now, if we reload this page on the right, the CloudFlare dashboard, we see we have a new domain right here, cmcmatter.biz. And if I click on that, let's see if I can find the DNS here. Okay, there we go. We've got a bunch of individual zones that have been created. So all that works perfectly, although I've got to change these A's to C names. So now let's take a look at the problem I have. I'm using my global CloudFlare key to make all this magic happen. Okay, I'm going to read this to you from a note underneath the camera. So if you see me doing that, I don't have a teleprompter, but this is a close second. Okay, what I am doing with this Ansible script is building a new server for each new client. Each client has a domain name that represents their server. In this case, it's cmcmatter.com, but it will be unique to each server. So here's the real problem. I can use a global key, as I did in this video you just watched, to generate their domain initially. No problem. I can set up all the subdomains. It works like a charm. However, we have another problem. Each of these servers use dynamic DNS. That means that the server checks periodically to see what their ISP, their internet service provider, is providing them for a public static IP address. If it changes for any reason, for instance after a modem reboot, our script will use the CloudFlare API to insert an updated IP address in their domain's DNS settings. Now, in order to run that script, the API needs to be accessible on that server and within that script, the API key. So it's going to be at their location, out of our control, and there's going to be a key available within that box. And I certainly don't want it to be our global API key. Now, what I would like you to do is to leave an API key on each server so that after it is in their possession, we can access it remotely and allow it to interact with CloudFlare as needed. Now, I certainly, as I mentioned, I don't want it to be our global API key, and I also don't want to go to CloudFlare with each client and manually create this key. I know we can do that, but we're trying to automate the entire process. So what I would like you to do is to create a bash script that uses the CloudFlare API to dynamically create a new token that has the permissions to edit the DNS on that customer's one zone. You'll need to test it with your own CloudFlare account, and when you feel it is ready, you can give it to us to test. So to be clear, you'll be creating a bash script that will include your global API key in order to test this. That bash script would then use the CloudFlare API to create a new token with permissions to edit one domain name zone and all the records within it. Your bash script will then store that key, the token rather, that was just generated, along with the Cloudflare administrator's email in a file that we'll call cloudflare.ini. It will look something like this. Lastly, we are going to provide you with a copy of our bash script which updates Cloudflare IP addresses for a particular zone. That script will import the token and email values that you generated to the file and use them to finish the job of updating the DNS. That's it. So you'll need to test that, make sure it works, and we'll take it from there. Thank you very much for helping me with my efforts. Bye-bye.